Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning.
Since when did fighting for your freedom become a racist movement? When you fight for freedom, it's for everybody. We're all humans. There's no race. Take the color off it.
Intolerant far-left organizations in Vancouver are now combining efforts formally to use bigotry, defamatory statements, and bullying to try and suppress the freedom of speech and expression of those who do not bow to their own ideology. Drea, Humphrey here with Rebel News, and recently the Vancouver and District Labour Council spearheaded a slanderous campaign in the form of an open letter regarding the BC Mega Freedom Rally 2020. If you're already a subscriber to us at rebelnews.com, then you may have already caught my report on day one of the Mega Rally, which I'd brought to you after being there for 5 hours, covering the entire event. Now, this was a peaceful rally that took place October 17th and the 18th, but the Vancouver and District Labour Council simply refused to wait until then to judge the protest attendees by their actions. No, instead they painted hundreds of Canadians from diverse backgrounds and levels of education with a brush that many of the attendees felt encouraged hate and was used to discredit their concerns with many of the political and social issues Canadians face today, such as COVID-19 restrictions, mandatory masks on healthy people, and lack of transparency from the government and the mainstream media regarding COVID-19. Which brings me to the VDCL's open letter regarding the Freedom Rally this weekend. Let's read some of it, shall we? We, the signatories to this open letter, have observed with mounting concern the growth of the far-right threat in the past months. Somebody please tell me, what is the far-right threat in Vancouver, BC? Please explain this to me. Let's continue. They have cynically used paranoia and misinformation about the COVID-19 pandemic to recruit new adherents and coalesce formerly disparate fringe groups. It is disturbing that recent public manifestations of this dangerous movement in Vancouver have brought out upwards of 700 people to the rally and march, where previously only a handful could be spotted hanging around the edges of the climate and social justice events. Now, for background, they're referring here to the Vancouver Freedom Rally 2020 that took place mid-September, which was another peaceful protest that Rebel covered on rebelnews.com. But the fact that they included this in the letter proves that they are informed that the two separate rallies were in fact hosted by the same organization. So this open letter is based on a protest of, according to them, had 700 people that there was no incident from, or 0 COVID-19 cases reported back to the event. Now let's continue to read why that observation is important. We are particularly alarmed to find out that an alliance of conspiracy believers, anti-vaxxers, white supremacists, and neo-Nazis is planning a major 2-day event in Vancouver, October 17th and 18th, which will include the arrival of a convoy of such extremists coming from Saskatchewan and Alberta. In other times and places, it may be appropriate to mobilize the community in non-violent opposition to their bigotry and hate. The inspiring turnout of over 4,000 at City Hall following the Charlottesville incidents of summer 2017 show what we are capable of. If these protesters have been known to bring bigotry and hate, now wait a second, where is that known? Where is it known about these particular protesters and their speakers that the open letter is discussing? I mean, they had the last protest as evidence that they could have used to support their words, but instead the VDLC is desperate to prove their point and uses an out-of-country protest that had absolutely nothing to do with the organizers of this mega rally. And then the VDLC has the brazen audacity to paint these people with the same white supremacist neo-Nazi brush as the man who, in hate, drove his car into protesters in Charlottesville. On what level in society is this okay? And then they say, we are afraid that This weekend, we will see groups of these extremists instigating violence. Such cowards are emboldened when they have large numbers, and we cannot allow our friends, families, and communities to be put in harm's way by those who would come to our city and spread hatred and ignorance. We are stalwart defenders of the rights of assembly and free speech. No, actually, no, you're not at all. That's clear as day here. But we cannot be so naive as to allow a violent neo-fascist movement to grow and threaten society, including its most vulnerable members, behind the facade of free expression. Now, I'm not making this up, guys. I wouldn't want to. The left has gone too far here. They keep senselessly throwing around such labels. Eventually, who's even going to trust them when they are actually talking about somebody who is a white supremacist or who is a neo-Nazi? Now, I was there at this protest for 5 hours, and so was my cameraman, who also happens to be a person of color, and neither of us could see the hate that the VDLC is warning the public about. Now, let's look at this list of some of the people who supported the VDLC's intolerant letter, and I mean who had no problems labeling the protesters this before they even protested. I mean, talk about bigotry, right? We've got the New West and Fraser Valley Labour Council, the Green Party of Vancouver, the Vancouver Pride Society, oh, and of course, David Suzuki. No surprise there at all. Look at this long list of bullies. Who exactly is the group that is spreading hate here? I mean, if influential organizations teamed up to tell the general public that the mega rally supports pro-white supremacy and neo-Nazi values, what emotion will the general public have towards the attendees of the protest? I don't know, maybe hate? Looks like that's what the UBC Students Against Bigotry took out of the VDLC's letter. They tweeted, "Public safety warning. Large far-right rallies are scheduled to begin at the Vancouver Art Gallery on noon on both Saturday and Sunday, but we recommend avoiding downtown Vancouver, BC for the entire weekend, especially Saturday." Such labels can attract hate and violence from the left. If you're telling the Let's Punch Nazis crowd that innocent people are Nazis, could you be doing exactly what you're saying you're scared of? After reading the VDLC's letter that was sent out to many, Rebel News felt it was necessary to hire 2 bodyguards to make sure I wouldn't be hurt when bringing you the other side of the story and, of course, the truth about the protests. And that's exactly why you can also listen to the protesters themselves in this report, something that the VDLC's letter and the VDLC and everybody who signed it seems not to be interested in doing. Oh, and don't forget to share this video so that maybe, just maybe, the intolerant left can, I don't know, be a little bit more understanding to other humans.
People have come ahead of this event, called it a white supremacist event that's gathering today. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think, again, the media masters always have these, phrases they use to delegitimize any organic opposition to them. So, they call it that, they call it Nazis, they call it whatever, racist. But these words are fake. These words have lost all their meaning. Look at these people. You know how you can tell what kind of a group is here? Look at these people and imagine these people at a grocery store. Do these people look like they fit in at a grocery store? No. That's how you know it's an organic people, it's normal people, it's middle class people, it's moms, it's seniors. These people look like they would fit in at a grocery store. They don't look different than normal people. So these words are stupid.
I think it's actually great because the more they name call us, the worse names that they call us, the more they try to slander and denounce us, it means that we are on the right track. It means that they don't want people to hear our message because our message, the truth, is a threat, and they don't want people hearing what we have to say. So bring the slander. It just means that we are doing the right thing and that our message is bang on. The slander doesn't affect me at all. At all. I'm numb to it. It matters about what we're doing here and what we're going to do here on out.
Now, I'm sure you guys have seen a lot in the mainstream media. If people have concerns like you guys, they often get called conspiracy theorists. There's an organization that actually labeled this event conspiracy theorists, anti-vaxxers, and white supremacists. Do you think that's representative of who you're seeing here today?
Not at all, because a conspiracy theory is a theory, but when it's proven true, is it a conspiracy theory then? Because as we know, a lot of so-called conspiracy theories actually happened. Like, a lot of information is on the internet in the alternative media, and I've been watching for years, and you know, at times I thought these people are kind of nuts, but it seems like majority of the things that they've said have actually shown themselves here in our realities. So I have to take that into consideration anytime. And I never really believe the media anyways. There's so much theatrics when you're watching the news. I can't believe people actually believe this crap. It's like professional wrestling, for heaven's sake. Like, it's
There's people who actually pre-labeled this as a white supremacist event.
Yeah. Which you can clearly see.
I clearly see it. Have you seen any white supremacists here today?
No, I haven't.
So I got to tell you, I'm not getting a big white supremacist vibe from you right now. but that's what your convoy was. That's what groups of people and people signed and everything and said that you're linked to that. How does that make you feel?
You know what? I'm way past that. I've been active for a long time as a patriot, and I've been under attack by the anti-hate lobby. I've been under attack by Antifa. I've been attacked by all these groups. And really, they're just, they're useful idiots that are trying to use a narrative to shame us, to bring down, because they know what our message is, and they know our message scares them. Because our message is about unity. It's not about division. It's not about black or white. It's not about gay or straight. It's not about Alberta or Quebec. It's not about all of these things that the government and the globalists and these groups try to divide us by. It's about a set of core values that we share across the country, irrespective of your identity, irrespective of what you believe in. And those values are freedom, justice, liberty, prosperity. And if we can rally around those values, then we can unite. And then once we unite, then we can destroy the agenda. We can destroy the globalist agenda. And they are scared to death of that unity.
There was a group called UBC Students Against Bigotry, and they said that this event was a white supremacist, anti-mask, and conspiracy theorists. They actually said that the people at this protest are going to be against people wearing masks. Have you experienced any discrimination at this protest for wearing a mask?
No, I haven't, and I'm not on their side either. I think words like racism, white supremacy, racism means something very specific, doesn't it? It means the belief that your race is better than others, or that some races should be separated. I think it's being overused. I haven't seen any evidence of racism here, although, I'm not going to speak for other people's experiences, but bigotry, that also means something specific. That means like a failure to consider viewpoints that are different from your own. Now, I might have seen some of that here. We're all guilty of it to some extent. I'm not going to claim that I'm completely immune from being bigoted also. But in order to combat bigotry, we have to really look at both sides and be skeptical of both sides, right? And that means being skeptical of the media, of course, of the scientists, of the doctors, but also being skeptical of the people that we agree with. That's where we have to be extra careful. If somebody is saying something that, you already agree with, you should be more suspicious of them than you are of the people that you think you disagree with.
What about, there's been some mention of this being a white supremacist gathering here today?
There's no evidence of such a thing. Show me evidence for someone who believes that.
Are you guys white supremacists?
Absolutely not.
Well, there was a group of alarmists who painted this as a gathering of anti-vaxxers and white supremacists. What do you have to say about that?
That was an absurd joke. It's the most ridiculous thing I've seen when it comes next to cancel culture. This is a huge infraction on our civil rights for them to try and cancel our freedom of speech and try and call us racists, xenophobes, all the names in the book, homophobic, xenophobic, all the nines. Like, that's getting ridiculous. And when they said that yesterday, and they put David Suzuki's name on it, we looked at it, at that piece of paper, to see if it was true, and it was true. These people don't know who we are. Since when did fighting for your freedom become a racist movement? When you fight for freedom, it's for everybody. We're all humans. There's no race. Take the color off it.
A month ago, I was standing here, September 13th, just expecting to make an announcement that Action for Canada was going to be raising funds to take the BC government, take legal action against the BC government. And it's in response, to the draconian measures that they've implemented.
So I spoke at the mega rally on September 17th, 18th. I was just so thrilled to be there, and it's exciting to see all these wonderful, family-friendly people show up at these events. And I was shocked to find out the day before that the VDLC and the Green Party, David Suzuki, had all endorsed and signed a letter that was calling the speakers and the organizers of this event neo-Nazi, white supremacist individuals, right, that were inciting violence. And it was so far from the truth in anything that was taking place or was intended to take place at this rally. And so I'm calling on behalf of Action for Canada and the other organizations. We're writing a letter calling on the VDLC and the Green Party to retract their statements, to write a public apology, and to send out another news release. They incited hatred within this document. They were calling for violence within this document in an undertone that is shocking that any Vancouver City councillors got behind this. The fact that David Suzuki would support this, the Green Party supports this. This is not what Canada is made of, and they're dividing and just poisoning the minds of anybody who happens to read that article and doesn't know the truth. It's wrong, and they need to turn this around.
Here at Rebel News, we bring you the other side of the story, and it's a good thing, because if we didn't, organizations like the VDLC would be able to label and punish Canadians who think differently than them about social and political issues, just like you saw in this letter. Now, if you'd like to keep us safe while we bring you reports on the other side of the story, please head to journalistdefensefund.com. That's where you can help support us both legally and physically. Thank you so much for your support.